So today I want to address the most common questions that I get when helping someone run either their first marathon or their first ultra marathon, whether that be like a 50-miler or a 100-mile race. Got my computer right here. I'm just gonna go through some of these questions and really just off the cuff answer them. And a lot of these are personal preference too, but things that I've learned from going from all the way to running half marathons to running 250-mile races and pretty much everything in between. So first question, what shoes should I get? It depends. There are two major categories of shoes. One is trail running shoes and the other are road running shoes. So those are the two main categories, but then in between for each of them there's different categories. But to keep it real simple, road running shoes, essentially they don't have the grip that trail running shoes have. And so for road running, just a basic trainer, everyday easy shoe, I like the Hoka Cliftons. It's just a great shoe I've always worn. And then if I'm doing more speed focused workouts on the road, I'll either do the Saucony Endorphin Speeds, or for my marathon, most recent 251 marathon, I did the Saucony Endorphin Elites because they had the carbon plate. Carbon plates definitely help you run faster. I didn't know if I bought into it until I actually did it, and yes, they definitely help. So the two shoes that I use for trail running are either one, the Hoka Speed Goats, or two, I wear the Speedland shoes. I don't know what model they're called, but they have a nice BOA system, great tread. They're both great shoes. I'm just really liking the BOA system, which is like a windy thing for the laces. You don't have to lace them up. It's really cool. What watch should I use? I use the Coros Vertix 2, but I know some people don't want to pay $600 for a watch or so. I'm just really invested in this thing. I literally wear it every day, so it's worth it for me. But there's also the Coros Pace that you can get, same brand. I really like the app's interface. It's really nice. And so that's that. Now, when it comes to fueling and hydration, you got fueling and you've got hydration. So everyday hydration, I get half a gallon to a gallon of water, and then I do a scoop of electrolytes in the morning. The electrolytes I use are my friend Jeremy's Switchback electrolytes, and I typically take one scoop every morning, and then for longer runs, I'll do another scoop, whether it's one every 1 hour or 2 hours, of course mixed with water. And then I typically do one bottle of water, one bottle with water with Switchback. And then I go through both of those bottles either every 2 hours, or I do it every 1 hour based on how hot it is. Like in Texas and in Dallas, it gets really hot in the summer. So on those days, I'm cranking down 2 bottles in an hour. What gels should I use? For a lot of my trail stuff, I use the Spring Energy Awesome Sauce gels because they're primarily whole food based. They taste just like applesauce. It's really good. But for the marathon preps, I really got into the Martin Gel 100s for training and then 160s for race day, just because there's a little bit more calories. How should I carb load? There's an easy calculator that I use. If you want it, comment below carb calculator, and I'll get that over to you as soon as I can. And essentially you put in your height, your weight, what race you're running, all that stuff, and it will tell you how many calories of carbs to eat per day leading up to the race. And I'll tell you this, when I did it with my friend Jeremy for the Jersey City Marathon, it was a lot more than I expected. But it worked. I mean, we ran a 251 marathon when my previous best was a 323, so definitely helped. What socks should I get? I'm a big fan of the I think it's Ingi toe socks. Helps prevent blisters, and I really like those. How do I prevent blisters? Well, I use Salty Britches chafing cream. I just rub it under my armpits, my nipples, private areas, and then yeah, that helps. And then also my feet, I rub it in between my toes because that helps from getting foot blisters. So that's that. Some people will even ask, like, do you listen to music? Do you listen to podcasts? What do you listen to nothing on runs? I do a mixture of both. I like racing without any music, but sometimes on my easy days, I will use like audiobooks or YouTube videos just so I can learn while I'm running, just because I'm spending an hour or so a day running and I want to get, you know, twice my time worth it, so I can learn and I can run at the same time. That's what I like to do. Otherwise, I do like to just think while I run. It's a great time to decompress, process things, and so on and so forth. So I either do that, YouTube or Audible, or I'll just think. And one big tip that I would say is that if you are doing a speed focused workout for like a marathon or half marathon training, you definitely don't want to use headphones. You definitely don't want to listen to anything. The reason being is you got to be focused on your times, and I feel like if I'm listening to YouTube or an audiobook, I let my mind drift, and that's the whole point, because it will make the easy runs go by faster. But when you're trying to do a speed focused workout, you really need to be dialed in. And so I don't listen to anything during speed workouts. What is your stretching routine before runs? I do this stretching routine daily with my mentor, Steve Weatherford, before we lift. I actually don't stretch before I run. Unless it's like a real speed focused day, I may do a dynamic warm up or some variation of the warm up that Steve and I do. But I stretch every day with Steve. That really helps prevent injury. And then most of my runs, they're either easy or the first couple miles are easy. So I consider that my warm up period. That's pretty much it. Oh, and then last thing I will say is, how do you find your next race? So a lot of people don't know, there are so many different websites, like Running in the USA, I think is one, that can help you find your next half marathon, marathon, or ultra. It segments based on state, month, all of those things. And that makes it really simple to find a race. Or if you're going for more of a trail race, ultra, you can go to ultrasignup.com, and that's really helpful as well. And it's funny because I had no clue there were things like websites that tell you where marathons are. It will even tell you like how flat it is. If you're trying to do a sub-3 marathon, you definitely want to find a flat one. And yeah, it's so funny because when I first did an ultra, I didn't really know that a lot of people did these races. And so I just went out there and made a 1 mile loop around my home. I didn't even go out and find one. But I would highly recommend checking out a race, just because it's just more fun being around more people. They have aid stations set up. You don't have to do all of the stuff yourself. So those are my most common asked questions for running your first marathon or running your first ultra marathon. Pretty basic stuff, but the basics are important. And yeah, so if you have any other questions about either marathon training or ultra marathon training, drop your questions below, because I'd love to help you out. And yeah, hit subscribe, and maybe I'll keep doing these videos. All right, have a great day and run your race.